The Merchant and the Genie. There was once a merchant who had much substance and traded largely in foreign countries. One day, as he was riding through a certain country, whither he had gone to collect what was due to him, there overtook him the heat of the day, and presently he espied a garden before him. So he made towards it for shelter, and alighting, sat down under a walnut tree by a spring of water. Then he put his hand to his saddlebags and took out a cake of bread and a date and ate them, and threw away the date stone, when behold, there started up before him a gigantic Afrit with a naked sword in his hand, who came up to him and said, "Arise, that I may slay thee, even as thou hast slain my son." "How did I slay thy son?" asked the merchant. And the genie replied, "When thou threwest away the date stone, it smote my son, who was passing at the time, on the breast, and he died forthright." When the merchant heard this, he said, "Verily we are gods, and to him we return. There is no power and no virtue but in God, the Most High, the Supreme. If I killed him, it was by misadventure, and I prithee pardon me." But the genie said, "There is no help for it, but I must kill thee." Then he seized him, and throwing him down, raised his sword to strike him, whereupon the merchant wept and said, "I commit my affair to God," and recited the following verses. "Fate has 2 days, untroubled one, the other lowering, and life 2 parts, the one content, the other sorrowing. Say unto him that taunteth us with fortune's perfidy, at whom but those whose heads are high doth fate its arrows fling. If that the hands of time have made their plaything of our life, till for its long protracted kiss ill hap upon us spring, dost thou not see the hurricane, what time the wild winds blow, smite down the stately trees alone, and spare each lesser thing? Lo, in the skies are many stars, no one can tell their tale, but to the sun and moon alone eclipse brings darkening. The earth bears many a pleasant herb, and many a plant and tree, but none is stoned save only those to which the fair fruit cling. Look on the sea, and how the waifs float up upon the foam, but in its deepest depths of blue the pearls have sojourning." "Cut short thy speech," said the genie, "for by Allah there is no help for it, but I must kill thee." "Know, O Afrit," replied the merchant, "that I have a wife and children, and much substance, and I owe debts and hold pledges. So let me return home, and give everyone his due, and I vow by all that is most sacred that I will return to thee at the end of the year, that thou mayest do with me as thou wilt, and God is witness of what I say." The genie accepted his promise and released him, whereupon he returned to his dwelling place and paid his debts and settled all his affairs. Moreover, he told his wife and children what had happened and made his last dispositions, and tarried with his family till the end of the year. Then he rose and made his ablutions, and took his winding sheet under his arm, and bidding his household and kinsfolk and neighbors farewell, set out, much against his will, to perform his promise to the genie, whilst his family set up a great noise of crying and lamentation. He journeyed on till he reached the garden where he had met with the genie on the first day of the new year, and there sat down to await his doom. Presently, as he sat weeping over what had befallen him, there came up an old man, leading a gazelle by a chain, and saluted the merchant, saying, "What ails thee to sit alone in this place, seeing that it is the resort of the jinn?" The merchant told him all that had befallen him with the Afrit, and he wondered and said, "By Allah, O my brother, thy good faith is exemplary, and thy story is a marvelous one. If it were graven with needles on the corners of the eye, it would serve as a warning to those that can profit by example." Then he sat down by his side, saying, "By Allah, O my brother, I will not leave thee till I see what befalls thee with this Afrit." So they sat conversing, and fear and terror got hold upon the merchant, and trouble increased upon him, notwithstanding the old man's company. Presently another old man came up, leading 2 black dogs, and saluting them, inquired why they sat in a place known to be haunted by the jinn. The merchant repeated his story to him. He had not sat long with them when a third old man came up, leading a dappled she-mule, and after putting to them the same question and receiving a like answer, sat down with them to await the issue of the affair. They had sat but a little longer later, when behold, there arose a cloud of dust, and a great whirling column approached from the heart of the desert. Then the dust lifted, and discovered the genie with a drawn sword in his hand, and sparks of fire issuing from his eyes. He came up to them, and dragged the merchant from amongst them, saying, "Arise, that I may slay thee, even as thou hast slain my son." Whereupon the merchant wept and bewailed himself, and the 3 old men joined their cries and lamentations. Then came forward the first old man, he of the gazelle, and kissed the Afrit's hand, and said to him, "O genie and crown of the kings of the jinn, if I relate to thee my history with this gazelle, and it seem to thee wonderful, wilt thou grant me a third of this merchant's blood?" "Yes, O old man," answered the genie, "if you tell me your story, and I find it wonderful, I will remit to you a third of his blood." Then said the old man, "Know, O Afrit, that this gazelle is the daughter of my father's brother, and my own flesh and blood. I married her whilst she was yet of tender age, and lived with her near 30 years, without being blessed with me with a child by her. So I took me a concubine, and had by her a son like the rising full moon, with eyes and eyebrows of perfect beauty. And he grew up and flourished till he reached the age of 15, when I had occasion to journey to a certain city, and set out thither with great store of merchandise. Now my wife had studied sorcery and magic from her youth, so I being gone, she turned my son into a calf, and her mother into a cow, and delivered them both to the cowherd. And when, after a long absence, I returned from my journey, and inquired after my son and his mother, my wife said to me, Thy slave died, and her son ran away, whither I know not. I abode for the space of a year, mournful-hearted and weeping-eyed, till the coming of the greater festival, when I sent to the herdsman, and bade him bring me a fat cow for the purpose of sacrifice. So he brought me the very cow into which my wife had changed my concubine by her art. And I tucked up my skirts, and taking the knife in my hand, went up to the cow to slaughter her. But she cowed and moaned so piteously that I was seized with wonder and compassion, and held my hand from her, and said to the herd, Bring me another cow. Not so, cried my wife, slaughter this one, for we have no finer or fatter. So I went up to her again, but she cried out, and I left her, and ordered the herdsman to kill her and skin her. So he killed her and flayed her, but found on her neither fat nor flesh, only skin and bone. Then I was sorry for having slain her, when repentance availed me not. And I gave her to the herd, and said to him, Bring me a fat calf. So he brought me my son in the guise of a calf. And when he saw me, he broke his halter, and came to me, and fawned on me, and moaned and wept, till I took pity on him, and said to the man, Bring me a cow, and let this calf go. But my wife cried out at me, and said, Not so, thou must sacrifice this calf and none other today, for it is a holy and blessed day, on which it behooves us to offer up none but a good thing, and we have no calf fatter or finer than this one. Quoth I, Look at the condition of the cow I slaughtered by thine order. We were deceived in her, and now I will not be persuaded by thee to slay this calf this time. By the great God, the compassionate, the merciful,
answered she, "thou must without fail sacrifice this calf on this holy day, else thou art no longer my husband, nor am I my wife." When I heard this harsh speech from her, I went up to the calf, knowing not what she aimed at, and took the knife in my hand. Here Shahrazad perceived the day and was silent, and her sister said to her, "What a charming and delightful story!" Quoth Shahrazad, "This is nothing to what I will tell you tomorrow night, if the king let me live." And the king said to himself, "By Allah, I will not kill her till I hear the rest of the story." So they lay together till morning, when the king went out to his hall of audience, and the vizier came in to him with the winding sheet under his arm. Then the king ordered and appointed and deposed, without telling the vizier